Thanks for tuning in to A Better World, where we aim to illustrate that today is the greatest time to be alive and show the progress we're making as a civilization. I'm your host, Luis Acevedo, and in today's episode, we're going to be going over an article, well, actually, a couple articles that I've read. And they all pertain to the economy and how we are doing much better right now than we have been, actually, in a long time, in a very long time. Now, before I do dive in to these articles that I want to cover, I do want to make it clear that although we've had positive improvements in our economic structure by regulation cutting and things like that, and jobs and benefits and wages going up, I think it's very important to note that something like this is probably not something that will be long term. As all of you know, we are in a boom-bust cycle. However, I do think it's important to note that right now we are doing very well economically. Even with the tariffs and the trade wars going on, we're still doing pretty damn well. And so that's why I wanted to cover this, because I don't feel there's been a lot of attention placed on that. And that has a lot to do with the president's rhetoric and the way he is. He brings a lot of the negativity upon himself. And without any further ado, we'll dive right in. So in Reuters, article titled U.S. weekly jobless claims dropped to a 49-year low. So the Labor Department found out that the state unemployment benefits have dropped by 203,000. Now, economists were only expecting it to drop to 214,000. So it was 11,000 more than what they anticipated. But still not that big of a difference, but still better than was expected. And that just means that more people are getting work. So that's a beautiful thing. That's a really good thing. Now, what those jobs are may vary. I mean, obviously, but what I mean by that is they may not be the greatest jobs either. So while we have progress here, we also should keep an open mind that maybe most of these jobs are in retail or in service as opposed to producing things. But maybe, hopefully, we can see a reversal in that too, where we start producing more than providing services, which is a sign of a good economy from my knowledge, from my research. Once you start producing more as opposed to providing services, that will help your economy grow that much better. But regardless, we're seeing less jobless claims now, which is awesome. And actually, the ADP National Employment Report showed that the private payrolls have increased by 163,000 since last month. So that's also very well. That's really, really cool. And then diving into something I know everybody has strong opinions about is the median wage income and how the wage income hasn't increased, and it's been pretty much stagnant for the past few years, and the middle class is now becoming the lower class, and so on and so forth. Basically, the middle class is disappearing is what people fear, what people's fears are. But in reality, although it isn't growing quickly, it's growing. So in an article from CNBC, it is titled, U.S. median household income climbs to new high of $61,372. Now, this is a 1.8% increase from 2016, and this is the third year in a row that we've seen the median income grow, which is awesome. And then we see something else that is pretty astonishing too. For the third year in a row, we see poverty rates dropping. So less people are in poverty, which probably contributes to the fact that more people have jobs. So that is an awesome thing. And then also, we have 7 million job openings. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong here, but we have more job openings than people looking for work. I believe that to be true. although I don't know for 100% sure off the top of my head, but I'm confident that's true, but I could be wrong on that. And if I am, I do apologize. And then the last article that I think ties this all in, and I think really demonstrates that with less political barriers, the free market, the economy in general, will be able to thrive more. And not saying regulations aren't necessary or they aren't needed. I do believe in regulations, but from an article from National Review, it is titled "Nixing Regulations Save Taxpayers $1.3 billion with a B billion dollars this year," which is double their expected goal when they set out to do their plan, where Trump had an executive order, and the executive order is 13771. Basically, for every new regulation, you would have to cut 2 old regulations from an agency or whatever. Now, all the regulations that have been cut, I don't necessarily agree with. A lot of the environmental ones, I do think that we should be very cautious of how we treat the environment, and that is a realm where I believe the government should regulate. That's my opinion, of course. Like I said, I do believe the government should have regulations. However, for the most part, it should be pretty much laid back and left up to the people to decide how to do business. For the most part, I believe. Besides, wages and things like that, and work hours, and making sure you're getting paid time and a half if you're working overtime, and you have proper working conditions and things of that nature, making sure that you're getting enough time in between your next shift, to sleep and relax and catch up and just be fully ready to go for the next day. So, like I said, I do believe in regulations. However, I do think that we have too many, and I do really like what Trump has done there as far as cutting back some of the regulations, and we're already seeing positive benefits to it. $1.3 billion have been saved on behalf, of these cutting back on regulations. And not only that, but the lifetime expectancy savings for this executive order is in the ballpark of $8.1 billion. Now, of course, that's an estimate. That could change. That could be more. It could be less. And it's just a guess that they have right now. But it seems pretty promising. And obviously, if they're saving us money, that's a beautiful thing. And so those were the articles that I wanted to go over today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Hope you learned something. And most importantly, I do just want to add one more thing before we end this episode, is that by me sharing these articles and the improvements we're making in the economy doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with everything our president does. However, I do think it's very important to acknowledge when good things are being done. And right now we are seeing good things being done to the economy. Are there other things that could be done that may be more beneficial to people? Of course there are. There's always something that somebody can do better. But without a doubt, I think we can all agree that the economy is doing pretty well right now under President Trump. And like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with everything that he does. But when it comes to the policies put in force for the economy, they seem to be working well from what we see. The data suggests that what he's doing so far for the economy is working. Will it last? Probably not, just because we're in a boom-bust cycle. That's just the unfortunate truth of the world we live in. But anyway, that's the episode for the day. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you all got something out of this. I hope you enjoyed it. And like always, if you like what you heard or saw, please subscribe and pass it along to a friend. And if you have any suggestions, like my friend Cale Miller, who suggested this topic to me. So if you have any suggestions on things that you see improving in the world, please let me know, and I'll be happy to cover it, if there have been improvements made. So, all right. You guys have a great day. Peace.